The story begins in a mysterious world shared by 9 races. Dragonauts, elves, oneists, dwarves, demons, dark elves, centaurs, beast folk, and humans, where a young adventurer named Light is born. Wanting to give his family a better life, Light bids farewell to his hometown and leaves to explore in search of money and power. After reaching a large city, Light is pushed around by the crowd, but continues searching for the Adventurers Union. He enters the guild and introduces himself to the receptionist, who asks if he wants to register as a new adventurer. As he nods, she explains that he will start at the lowest F rank and asks if he has any special abilities. Light says he has an unlimited Gacha ability, allowing him to roll random cards and summon them. After summoning a bent fork in front of her, the receptionist is left speechless. Embarrassed, Light tries to act as if he can summon more than just silverware, but his next rolls only give him piles of rotten snacks. After receiving his adventurer card, he asks for some quests and is told to check the guild's job board. When the receptionist mentions the job postings, Light feels awkward, and she realizes he cannot read the board. Feeling sorry for her uneducated fellow human, she reads the job postings for him. Eager to earn real money, Light happily accepts the boring tasks. After a full day of hard work, he finally earns enough to rent a room. However, a gang of beast folk ambushes him and begins bullying him while their leader takes his money. Light begs him for mercy, but the cruel wolf strikes him back with a hard uppercut. The wolfman mocks Light for begging for spare change and coldly walks away with his laughing gang. Even the people around ignore Light as he lies on the ground, until a kind elf helps him up. Light is startled by the adventurers surrounding him and steps back in fear. Seeing how frightened he is, the elf hugs Light to comfort him while passers-by mock them. Shocked that such a beautiful elf would dirty herself for his sake, Light helps her stand up. The adventurers introduce themselves as members of the Concord of Thrives. A beast man named Jero explains that each member represents one of the 9 races, and the elf introduces herself as Sasha. She introduces Nadrago, Diablo, Oboro, Nano, Shaun, and Santer, completing the 9 races. Light learns that the Concord is searching for a human to represent unity among all races. As Jero reaches out his hand to invite him, Light freezes, realizing someone actually needs him. He then happily accepts the invitation. Soon after, Light begins exploring a dungeon called the Abyss with his new group. A giant worm tries to ambush him, but Jero cuts it down before it can harm Light. Another worm appears behind him, and Sasha shoots it down with her bow. She scolds Light for being careless, reminding him that they are exploring the most dangerous dungeon in the world. Sasha warns him that he could easily die here and sits down to treat his wounds. Noticing how she acts like a mother, the other party members tease Sasha for spoiling Light too much. Blushing red like a tomato, Sasha pretends she does not care about Light and claims she is only protecting a fellow party member. As the others ignore her weak excuse, she becomes even more defensive. However, Drago steps in and cheers Light up, saying he makes great tea for the group. Encouraged, they move deeper into the dungeon. When the group stops at a dead end, Drago signals them to halt. Light thinks they are taking a break and begins preparing tea. However, Drago tells him they do not need tea because they are expelling Light from the party. Light thinks it is a joke, but Drago harshly repeats his words while Light stands frozen. Jero also tells Light that he is done for, so Light asks why they are abandoning him. Jero says the group no longer needs him, and Sasha looks annoyed by his foolishness. Even Shaun and Nano mock Light for being so pathetic, while the demons sigh in relief that they can finally get rid of him. Light asks why they became so cruel after showing him kindness earlier. Jero reveals that they only pretended to be kind to lure him into the party. Light wonders why such a powerful group would need him, and Drago explains it was because of his special ability. They recruited Light hoping he would become an overpowered master, but his ability turned out to be complete trash. Light admits that his unlimited Gacha ability has never been useful, and Jero agrees. He mocks Light for being a talentless human and says the party no longer needs his worthless help. Knowing he is a failure, Light wonders why they even waited this long to throw him away. Meanwhile, Sasha feels relieved that she could marry her master instead of ending up with a pitiful human child. Shocked by this revelation, Light begs Drago to just finish the job. After Drago tells Jero to kill him, Light finally realizes the danger he is in. Seeing the hostile looks in their eyes, Light understands that the party plans to kill him to prevent him from growing stronger and seeking revenge. Jero extends his claws and slashes Light's cheek, watching blood flow from the cut. As the others watch coldly, Light turns and runs while screaming. Jero tells him the monsters of the abyss will eat him alive. However, Sasha shoots an arrow into his leg to stop him from escaping. Screaming in pain, Light collapses, and Jero enjoys his suffering. He steps forward and kicks Light hard in the stomach, knocking him down again. He begins beating Light, but Sasha stops him, reminding him that they must make his death look like an accident. Jero then raises his claws for the final strike. As death approaches, Light crawls across the ground, desperately wanting to live. Jero eagerly watches him struggle while the weak boy fights for survival. Suddenly, Light's hand presses a teleportation trap, and Drago shouts for Jero to finish him before it activates. However, Light is safely teleported away before the Beastman can reach him. Light awakens in another area of the dungeon. Still suffering from severe injuries, he believes any random monster could eat him at any moment. As the freezing cold of the cave reminds him of his loving family, Light begins to cry. He remembers how kind the Concord seemed at first and wonders why they became so cruel, recalling their cold expressions at the dead end. Anger fills Light at their betrayal. He is confused by the powerful masters and the Concord's higher-ups, wondering how he got involved with such mad people. His confusion turns into rage as he swears revenge. Light stands up, determined to kill them all, but feels a chilling gaze behind him. He turns around and sees a level 1000 Orthus beast staring him down. Light wonders why such a dangerous monster is here and realizes the trap sent him to the deepest level of the abyss. As the Orthus approaches, Light desperately spams his unlimited Gacha ability, praying for a miracle. With one final frantic press, he summons a massive magic circle. He stares in disbelief as the Gacha device releases a powerful aura, summoning an ancient fairy. Recognizing Light as her master, the fairy effortlessly slices the monster apart. The remains scatter across the ground as she lands gracefully. Before Light's stunned eyes, she cleans the mess with a flick of her hand. The fairy walks toward Light and kneels respectfully before healing all his wounds with magic. She apologizes for healing him without permission, saying she could not bear to see him injured. Light introduces himself, still unable to believe he summoned the most overpowered fairy in the world. The fairy falls in love with his name, repeating it before pledging her absolute loyalty. Not knowing who she is, Light awkwardly asks her name. She reveals herself as May, a level 99,999 Eversick maid. May explains that she is an extremely rare card from Light's Gacha. Light insists the Gacha only produces trash, unable to believe he summoned someone like her. May believes she is completely worthy of him and begs to stay by his side. Seeing her pitiful expression, Light finally agrees, and May thanks him sincerely. She then asks him to check his Gacha ability, surprising him by revealing he has appraisal skills. May explains this is just one of her abilities. When Light agrees, May's eyes glow as she analyzes him. She sees layers of hidden protection surrounding him through the Gacha. May is amazed by the power of his ability. She explains the Gacha seemed useless before because Light was in areas with little mana. However, in the mana-rich abyss, the Gacha absorbs ambient mana and greatly increases the chance of pulling rare cards. She explains the Gacha card ranks, from the highest extra rarity and ultra rare down to normal and error. Light still does not fully understand, so May explains that on the surface, he would never get good pulls due to low mana. She praises him for entering the abyss and unknowingly increasing his chances. However, May says it was still dangerously reckless for him to venture alone, admitting she was wrong. Light explains that he entered the abyss with a party, but they betrayed and tortured him. As he recalls their cruelty and mockery, he breaks down crying while telling May his story, remembering how they ridiculed him for being a pathetic human. He complains about their cruelty, saying he only wanted to earn an honest living for his family. May listens silently as he pours out his pain, devastated by the betrayal. Light collapses to his knees, swearing he will never forgive those beasts. Clutching the arrow wound in his leg, he sobs as May quietly embraces him. In her warm embrace, Light calms down and stops crying. Mei says she cannot fully understand his suffering, but she will use all her power to give the Concord what they deserve. As Light stares at her in shock, Mei vows to wipe them out instantly if he wishes. As she helps him stand, she thinks he is far too kind for his own good. She tells him not to be so merciful, but Light says he ended up like this because of his own weakness. He tells Mei he does not want to abuse her power for revenge and vows to grow stronger and punish the Concord with his own hands. Though he thinks Mei might doubt his unrealistic dream, she promises to support him without hesitation. After Mei tells him she fully believes in him, Light smiles with joy. She returns his smile as Light uses his Gacha again to summon another overpowered tool from the abyss. Mei watches faithfully as Light begins building his empire. Surrounded by giant magic circles fueled by the endless mana of the abyss, Light summons ultimate tools for his rise to power. And that is where the first episode of my gift level 99.99 Unlimited Gacha ends. You may subscribe and stay tuned for the upcoming episodes of our anime recap.